Hello, and welcome to this video where we'll be seeing how to integrate Salesforce with ServiceNow. So let's get started. So we'll be using the Exalate app for doing this. Now, Exalate is a bi-directional integration solution which could help you synchronize Salesforce objects with ServiceNow tables, like for example cases, opportunities, tasks. Any custom objects can be synchronized with, for example, incidents, problems, or any other type of table on ServiceNow. Now how you get started is with the Exalate documentation. You can come down on this page and click on the platforms that you want to sync. So let's take Salesforce and ServiceNow. Now, if you click on check tutorial, and these are the five main steps that would be required. So we have, you just need to install the Exalate app on each sides. So for ServiceNow, it's an app that is listed on the ServiceNow store. You can directly install the app, the Bridge app. If you're using a dev environment, then you can just you can set up the Exalate using an update set. For Salesforce, again, it's an app that is listed on the App Exchange. So you can just install the app from there. There are a couple of steps and that you need to follow, and then you should be good to go. Okay, so let's see how it works. So I've already installed it on both the sides. Now, what you need to do first of all is to create a connection between these two sites. So the idea here is very simple. We just go to connections where we have these two buttons. We click on initiate connection on any one side. We put the destination instance URL. So in this case, as the app is also installed on the ServiceNow side, you just need to go to the general settings where you'll find the Exalate URL. So we actually need to put the Exalate URL in the destination. Once this is done, it would give you the configuration types to choose from. You can continue with either basic or script. So the basic mode, it's actually not that customizable. So you can only synchronize basic fields, like for example the title of the ticket, the description, and comments and attachments. So it's a fully bidirectional flow. You can start the ticket synchronization from anywhere, but you cannot add or remove any fields. It's like a plug and play solution. And here only cases can be synchronized. That's the most common, like commonly used entity. But if you want to use any other entity, then that won't be covered under the basic synchronization. Yeah, let's click on the next button here. First of all, yeah, so you have two options here. Either you have the admin access on the other side, or if you don't have, you can click on no, I don't have admin access. I have the admin access is on the other side, as I'm logged in with an admin account here, so I can proceed with the same. So you can click yeah, initiate. So it will redirect me to the node again on the other side, where I just need to accept the invitation. Yeah. So the connection is established successfully now. All right, and we can just put an incident number to proceed to synchronization. So this is just a pop-up. So yeah, with the basic mode, cases can be synchronized with only incidents. That's the entity that's supported. If you refresh the page, you would be able to see that there is a connection created, and this is the basic mode connection that we just created. To test it, let's create like a case here. Let's say that let's give it some details. For example, so the subject, new case sync test with Exalate, basic mode, some description to the ticket, um, and yeah, let's just save this. So to exhalate a ticket to the other side, you can just click on the exhalate button manually here, or we can even automate this process by creating a trigger. Uh, for the time being, I'll just exhalate it, select the connection through which it needs to go, and yeah, there we go. So once the exhalate is done here, there is a panel here on the right side which shows you the status of synchronization of the ticket. And once it is synchronized, it would give you a link to ServiceNow ticket. It's in progress at the moment. I'll just refresh the page to see. So this is synchronized now, and you see the link on the remote link here. This link will take us to the ticket, the incident which has been created on the ServiceNow side. Now, if you see, the short description is here, the description is here, and this is exactly the number that we see here, right? Now, let's make some comments, let's make some updates here. So, for example, let's say comment added from ServiceNow. We post it, and if you want to see, let's add an attachment as well. So these four fields are supported out of the box. We can synchronize like these fields, we can update it, and yeah, that should go to the other side as well. Now once the tickets are linked, we don't really need to uh, click any button or as such anything like that. So let's save it, and it should automatically update the Salesforce case as well. So let's come here and let's just refresh the page again. So if you see here, it says that a comment has been added. So system administrator commented, and then the body of the comment that we gave from ServiceNow. If you also go to the related section, we should be able to see the comments as well. Let's refresh it. Ah, so so the attachment is also here. The log file that I shared from the other side, that's here. So yeah, it pretty much gives the attachments as well. It's the same file that I tried to synchronize. So yeah, this is what the basic mode would look like. Any update from Salesforce on the mapped fields should automatically go to ServiceNow as well, but it's not possible to customize this. uh, yeah, and let that for that, let's go to the next mode, which is the script mode, which is very, very powerful, and we can sync our own fields. You can customize the logic, and yeah, do a lot more cool stuff with the script mode. So let's start with a new connection. um, let's go back here and put the destination instance URL, choose the script mode, and give it a connection name. So let's give it something like, oh, sorry, my bad. So this should be actually initiated from the Salesforce side. So this is the Salesforce side, and in the destination, we need this URL. So this is the same URL here. So now we go back here and we choose the script mode this time and put the connection name as, let's say, Salesforce to ServiceNow. You can give it a connection description as well. So let's say script mode connection. You initiate the connection here, copy the invitation code, and go to the other side in connections, and let's accept the connection here. Click on next. Oh, okay. So the connection with the same name exists already here. So I'll have to just delete it for now. My bad, sorry. We'll just do this again. So we'll generate the invitation code and let's just accept one more time. So the connection names should be unique. We can't have we can't have same multiple connections with the same connection name. So yeah, once the connection is established, we can configure the sync, and you would be able to see sync rules, which is actually the heart of the connection, which also determines what information would be flowing back and forth between the two systems. So you have outgoing sync, incoming sync visible on ServiceNow. And if we go back to Salesforce, and if you see, there is one more connection, this one that we just created, which is active here. We edit the connection, and what we get is outgoing sync and incoming sync rules here. This is not really available in the basic mode. So if you see the rules here, this is what you get by default, but if you try to add anything, it's not possible and you need to upgrade it to script. All right, so let's come back here and let's see how it works. So in the outgoing sync, basically what you add is the information that needs to synchronize from one side to the other. So for example, if you want to synchronize a certain thing from Salesforce, that would be added here in the outgoing sync. So we have some default code snippet. It's like a template to show you how things work. And if you want to customize, and let's say if you want to sync something like a custom field, then this is how it should ideally sync. Yeah. Now let's take some, and for example, this one outgoing will be mapped here in the incoming sync on the other side. So let's say these are the fields on the Salesforce case. What happens is that this gets mapped into a replica variable, and from here, whenever a new ticket tries to be created on the ServiceNow side, the same replica variable is used, and we map it to the destination field. So for example, the subject of the Salesforce case gets mapped into a variable known as replica.summary. From here, this replica summary gets picked up, and now we map it to the short description field on ServiceNow. So we have four fields mapped by default. What we can do is a lot of cool stuff. So for example, on the first sync itself, what we can do is we can initiate a sync back and populate a custom field on Salesforce. So let's see how to do that. So for example, if we go to we have in the documentation, we have a search where we can just search for some methods. So we have a method called sync back after processing. This basically will initiate a sync back to Salesforce from ServiceNow. So let's write that here in the incoming sync, and this will trigger an outgoing sync again. And here in Salesforce, whenever a new case gets created, let's say we want to populate the ServiceNow ID field. So what we do is we just go to our setup first of all, and we want to check the API name in the object manager. So we go to case here, we go to fields and relationships, and here we find the field ServiceNow ID. We need this field name actually, so we copy this and we come here in the incoming sync of our Salesforce. So what we do here is that we just write entity dot and this one. So we need to populate this field, but with something that's coming from the replica side. So we want to put the replica key, which is the ticket number, incident number. The incident number is mapped here in the entity dot key, which will come as replica dot key. So that's why we use replica dot key here. Now let's publish the rules. Let's even create a trigger this time just to show you automation. So the triggers can even be applied or created on the basic mode. Let's choose the case object, as the trigger will be applied to a case. We go to case, we use the search query, and we just write something like, let's say, status equal to new. So whenever a ticket is created and the status of the ticket is new, then the trigger will automatically be picking up the ticket, and it would synchronize the case to the other side. So let's do it this way. Now let's try on a new case. So the trigger is the status, which is in new. New case sync test with script mode, some description to the case, save it. uh yeah, this one, sorry. So yeah, so the status is new, for example, so that's exactly what we wanted, so the trigger is fully matching here. So now we don't really need to click on the Exalate button, as the trigger is working in the backend. What we can do is just refresh the page to see the synchronization status, or whether it has picked up or not. So if you see, the status is synchronized, so it happens very fast, like in a couple of seconds. Also, what is interesting to see here is that the same ServiceNow ID, which you see here in the remote link, got populated here in this field as well. So that is how you actually synchronize some information in a custom field, right? Um, Now let's do a couple of more customizations. Let's see how you can literally synchronize the status of the tickets as well. So what you need to do first of all is to synchronize the status from the outgoing sync, which is already here, let's say, right? Now, what you again need to do on the incoming sync of the ServiceNow side is to map the status, right? Because the workflows could be entirely different. So what we do here is, first of all, so there is a lot of code snippet that is actually available. You can literally just copy and paste certain lines of code. This is like a code helper for you guys. Um, and this works on the mapping of the workflow. So here on Salesforce, we have, let's say, new working and escalated status. So we can, the first value is the remote value. So new working and, let's say, escalated. Now we want to map it to certain values. So let's see the sub states on ServiceNow. So we have new, let's say we have in progress, and we do like a escalate state or something, right? So we can do anything here, for example, but yeah. So let's say new, in progress, and escalate here. Yeah, the next thing is to check what's coming in the replica. So probably this is the not the right one, because this is done as per service now. But what we can always do is we can write a debug dot error statement, which will always give us what's coming in the replica. This will deliberately generate an error, so I can just write hello or something like that. We comment these lines, for example, for now. And whenever we create a new sync, let's say I just want to update the title, so I just write update it and save this. So now whenever the synchronization runs, it would create an error. So on the left side, if you see, you have an errors tab, which would give you information about the errors whenever there is an error, and whenever there is a sync running which does not go through. Just give it a second, please. Yeah, so we have the error here, so now it should be visible here. So if you click on the three dots, go to details and click on show remote replica here, you would be able to see the value of the status uh, somewhere. So the the right tag should be replica.status.value, and that is where we get our value of the status coming from the other side. So this is the key here. So we go to connections again, we edit the connection, and what we do is, first of all, we comment this line, but what we would do is just change the replica to what's actually coming from the other side. So it should be replica.status.value. That's where we get our status values. Now we just publish and resolve it. And when we go back to our ticket, oh, that's not the right one, sorry. This one, please. So let's open this one. So yeah, this is now updated. Now now let's try to change the status of the ticket. Let's change the status from new to working, and we save it. And now let's just see what Exalate does here. So the status will be changed automatically here on the other side. Just give it a few seconds, please. You can always monitor the sync as well by going into the sync queue. This is where you would be able to see if there is any event that is getting processed or coming in or anything like that. Okay, let's go back and let me just refresh the page. Okay. Okay, so something got synchronized like 14 seconds ago. So we have mapped the working state. Let me just double check the mapping. So the working on the other side is mapped to in progress here. Okay, so yeah, updated. Okay, let's refresh the page. Yeah, so if you see, the status is being updated to in progress here. So that is how you can do a lot of customizations in the mapping. The same way how we put this logic, we can even do the same on the other side as well. Right now what we need to literally do is just copy this line of code and come here in Salesforce in the incoming sync. So this is outgoing, my bad. Let's come here in the incoming sync and we paste this code, and we just make a little bit of changes. So yeah, so the syntax is already here, whatever we want to sync. Okay, let's copy this one. We remove this, for example, and we again make the mapping. So here, for example, in progress, if it's coming from ServiceNow, it's working. But then if you, for example, if the let's say status on the ServiceNow is escalate, we want to change it to escalated. So we just there's one thing that we need to remove here. We don't want yeah. All right, so let's go back here. We change the state, escalate, we save it. Oops. And within a couple of seconds, this would be changed back. So there is an error, cannot get property name on null object. So the best part is that it gives you the exact line of code. So now I know why this error came, because the replica is not correct. So you can verify that by going into the error section, clicking on three dots, details. You can go to show remote replica, where it would give you a payload from ServiceNow. Now, if you see here, the state directly is escalate, so we don't really need to write anything else in the replica. It should be just replica.state. So we come here, we change the replica. This was just an example. So we just write replica.state here and we publish and resolve. And we go back, refresh the ticket. Yeah. So if you see, the status is now changed to escalated. So this was just an example of how you can bidirectionally map statuses, map a custom field, do a little bit of synchronizations, and see how the script you know works. So yeah, if thank you so much for watching this video. Enjoy and have a nice day ahead. Bye bye.